Hello, everyone, and welcome to Huxley's Book Club. Thank you for joining us for an evening of Dungeons & Dragons. I'm Mike, and I will be your Dungeon Master tonight. We're thrilled to be streaming at twitch.tv/RollTogetherRPG. The Book Club is going to be wholesome, confusing, and potentially, hopefully at the end, wholesome again. But we'll see if we can keep track. Well, for those who are new to Dungeons & Dragons, everyone here plays fantasy characters in our fantasy universe. The 5 players each have their own unique character, with sheets that tell them who they are, what they can do, their deepest secrets, and what dice to roll. They mostly will be rolling 20-sided dice to see if they succeed in what they're trying to do. 20 is good, 1 usually hilariously bad. And whilst they play their characters, everything else in the fantasy universe is played by me. People, monsters, weather patterns, you name it. Between me describing the world and the story, the players describing what they want to do, and some dice rolls to keep things unpredictable and interesting for us all, we will tell our story. Let's meet the players and hear a word from our sponsors.
Hello, my name is Liz. I use they, them pronouns, and I will be playing Huxley Bricklesnout, who uses he, him pronouns. Huxley is a cute old bugbear. He's brightly coloured with blues and pink fur. He's a wizard of the scribe variety. Was a temporary member of the Shepherds, hoping to get back there soon. But his main job is a library shelf stacker, and perhaps something that not many people know, the founder and leader of a book club at Blackstaff Academy.
Hi, I'm Johnny. I use he, him pronouns, and I am playing Blaze, who uses they, them pronouns. Blaze is a tiny little fire elemental. They are a genie warlock, and they like to keep everyone's coffee warm, which is a nice little trick that they can bring to the table when sitting down for a warm cup of something at a nice, safe book club.
Hi, I'm Evie. I use she, her pronouns, and I will be playing Tine Vandermeer, who also uses she, her pronouns. After the events of Ancient Antics, in which Tine heroically and selflessly gave up her princess title for the pig folk and found out that prophecies are not real, she wrote a memoir of her adventures and has subsequently joined Huxley's Book Club to kind of peddle the memoir a little bit and just to make some new friends. So we'll see what this new chapter entails.
Hi, I'm Josh. I use he, him pronouns, and I will be playing Alaric Surian, who also uses he, him pronouns. Alaric is a ranger rogue. He will tell you a lot that he is retired and he is no longer an adventurer, and he goes on about that quite a lot. He also has a very big fascination with a book called 50 Shades of Fae. Hopefully that comes up at some point.
My name is Nathan, and today I will be playing Grimnir Dirgeblade, who also uses he, him pronouns. Grimnir the Dragonborn is a renowned reaver, plunderer, murderer, and adventurer who is trying to get a bit better handle on his rage and settle into his middle-aged years in this book club.
We are delighted to be sponsored by Hero Forge. Hero Forge offers fully customizable tabletop minis with dozens of fantasy species and thousands of parts to choose from. You can see all of the minis that we designed for this stream in the overlay, and they animate when we enter the combat, so look out for that. Hero Forge are fantastic, so do check out the Pro membership where you can get premium access to features ahead of time, and beta access to things, and all sorts of cool stuff that just makes your life a lot easier. And you can check them out at heroforge.com.
We are delighted to be sponsored by Ultra Pro. They make accessories for D&D, Magic the Gathering, and more. My favourite part of their collection are their figurines of adorable power. Here is their gazer. They also make other things such as deck boxes if you play Magic the Gathering. You can find all of Ultra Pro stuff at ultrapro.com.
Hey friends, check out our new sponsor, Phoenix Dice, for a carefully curated menagerie of click-clack math rocks for your delectation. Check out their entire selection at phoenixdice.com, and just so you know, Phoenix Dice are all about living gloriously in the worlds of tabletop games and sustainably in this one, which means their dice are working to be recycled, their packaging is recycled, the dice are made of sustainable materials. It's all great stuff. You should definitely get involved. You can also join us today in chat with a chance to be be in a raffle and win some Phoenix Dice of your own. Just put !dice into chat and you'll be in with a chance to win.
We are proud to be sponsored by Alchemy RPG. Reimagine your gaming experience with Alchemy. They're focused on creating immersive, cinematic experiences everywhere you interact with tabletop role-playing games. You could be playing a game, creating a world, streaming, watching live games, discovering new content. Look at all the cool stuff that they are doing there. You can use environmental motion art, scene-based music, seamless character management to run your games over the internet, with upcoming features including homebrew content, streaming overlays, and spectator mode. So go and check out alchemyrpg.com.
We're delighted to be supported by Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms, a Dungeons & Dragons strategy video game that brings together D&D characters from novels, adventures, and multiple live streams into a single grand adventure. Select your heroes and formation and battle through waves of monsters for free on PC, phone, PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo Switch. You can pop exclamation code into chat for a free Electrum chest.
We're delighted to be supported by Neverwinter. In Neverwinter, explore and defend one of the most beautiful cities from Dungeons & Dragons' Forgotten Realms campaign setting as it rises from the ashes of destruction. Epic stories, action combat, and classic role-playing await those heroes courageous enough to enter the fantastic world of Neverwinter. Neverwinter is completely free to play, so set yourself up an account today and pop !NW gift into chat for a link to a free gift.
Check out our wonderful supporters Elderwood Academy, who make beautiful bespoke gaming-themed gear, including hex chest dice boxes, spellbook deck boxes disguised as bespoke ancient arcane tomes, and scroll and codex dice tower and rolling tray pairings. Make your own with their online designer at elderwoodacademy.com.
This stream will run for 3 hours, and there will be roughly a 5 to 10 minute break somewhere towards the middle. We run shows on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Fridays at 6 p.m. Greenwich Meridian / British Summertime, which is 10 a.m. Pacific Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. in mainland Britain, and 2 a.m. Tuesday mornings in Japan and parts of Australia. On Mondays, we run TTRPG streams. These can be one-shots, 4, 6, 8, or even 12 weeks long. You can always find out our latest schedule at twitch.tv/rolltogetherrpg/schedule. On Tuesdays, we have our ongoing campaign, Fracture. And on Fridays, we have our talk show, Talk Together, and Talking is a Free Action, which lasts for 1 hour.
We are Roll Together RPG on all socials, so find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and even TikTok. Links in chat.
Thank you to our D20 Club on Patreon. You can find a link in chat. Help us make our shows from just £1, $1, or $1 gold piece, and unlock more tiers by joining. Our D20 Club are fab. They've created a fan Discord for us. They've also made a wiki page for Roll Together. You can find that at rolltogether.fandom.com.
Welcome to our podcast listeners. If you also would like to listen to us via podcast, you can search Roll Together RPG on your favourite podcast provider. If we're not there, let us know and we will add ourselves to that list.
Finally, we play a diverse group of players who play a diverse set of characters with wide-ranging sexual and gender identities. Our tables are trans and GNC positive, and we encourage and champion trans and GNC players and characters in our games. The DM and players may portray characters that are of a different gender to their own. We aim to avoid misgendering, but acknowledge that it does happen, and have a company policy in place for correcting people on pronouns. If we miss an instance of misgendering, we are open to being corrected, so please do just let us know if you think one has been missed. Check out !safety in chat for content warnings and some of the safety tools that we use through the TTRPG Safety Toolkit. And now, let's begin. And welcome back to Huxley's Book Club. Let's find ourselves in Waterdeep, in the Tower of the Blackstaff, or very specifically, library, and even more specifically, the very back, hidden away in the nooks of this fantastical arcane library. The library itself is almost magical it is literally magical. When you walk in, you can see floating books stacking themselves. You can look along and there is academics from all over the world of Faerun and beyond studying. You can see students doing internships from Strixhaven and all of the others studying and watching. But today we're going to forget about all of the fanciness of the arcane studies and the path to level 9 majestic spells as such. And we're going to go for a little journey as we pass through shelves and shelves of books. We get to the dustier parts. Well, maybe not entirely dusty, but at least dusty in the sense of the books haven't been opened in a long time. We're going to pass through and find this small little nook. And in this nook is a beautiful little corner of the world, lined with books still. Once again, these books aren't as such arcane or the studying material. These are fiction or a mixture of cooking books and things that you wouldn't necessarily find in an arcane library as such, but still belong and look happy there. A beautiful table is set in the middle. In one corner, a fireplace that's just crackling away slowly, really dim. You don't really want a huge fire going in the library. And set on the table are some beautiful silver platters, ready and empty for what is to come. A small pot is on the fire as well, which is boiling some water for what we'd assume would be some tea. And setting up the table and dusting off some crumbs left is Huxley. Liz, would you like to describe what Huxley's doing, maybe what he brought?
So I like to think that Huxley has been gathering soft furnishings for this specific area. And there's the D&D equivalent of a beanbag just in one of the corners, which Huxley tends to sit in. And since Huxley sits in this beanbag, there's a nice Huxley-shaped bum shape permanently in there now. And he looks so comfortable right now. He is surrounded by piles of books that are on the floor. The books he tends to, once he finishes reading one, he will add it to the pile. So it's a sort of celebratory monument to the amount of books he's read. He kind of pushes his spectacles up on his face and kind of looks around, glad that there's this nice quiet space in the library that he can be in. For those who know Huxley, he's quite a relaxed character, this bugbear, who looks a little bit out of place right now with his bright blue and bright pink fur, his short shorts and his knee-high boots, but he is way more relaxed than anyone has ever seen him before. This is his happy place. And he just flips over the page and carries on reading whatever book he currently has in his hands.
Fantastic. What do you think Huxley's prepared?
The book that Huxley has prepared.
What confectionery item? What confectionery item do you think Huxley's prepared?
Huxley has recently discovered the D&D version of fish and chips, which is called Quipper and Chips. It's a local delicacy. It's very inappropriate for a library because it does stink the place out, but he brings it every single time without fail. He does hand out the chips to whoever is around, and there's little bottles of vinegar around that he likes to pour over the delicacy in front of him.
Sick. So I have a feeling I might have to introduce two characters at the same time. Alaric and Blaze, how would you two like to enter
think you would hear Alaric coming before you saw either of the two of them, because Alaric walks with a cane, and you can hear that hitting against the stone flooring as he's walking along. But I would assume that Blaze would be the first one to walk in.
So Blaze would walk in, kind of shoulders hunched, with like a large blanket just kind of completely covering him, and you can just see the light from his body illuminating what's under the blanket, and he's just there with a little tray in his hands with some stacked cinnamon buns along it, and he kind of nods towards Huxley, but is very quiet, moves in, places a bit of stone down, and then hops up and sits on the stone and places his cinnamon buns in the middle.
And Alaric would be, he's got one hand on the cane, moving in very slowly, very hunched over, and in the other hand, he's got one of those like cardboard type cup holders in his hand that he's holding like a waiter would, and he's got what would be effectively the D&D version of takeaway coffee cups in his hand, and anybody who's nearby would get the strong smell of hot chocolate coming from it as he walks in and places it on the table. I'll walk over to a chair next to where Blaze has pulled up his stone, and I'll just sit down, cane in between my legs, both hands on it, and just nod towards Huxley in a very friendly manner.
Hello. Would you like a chip? They are going cold. I helped myself initially. I know I shouldn't have done, but I was a little bit hungry. Is that hot chocolate that I smell?
Oh yes, hot chocolate as always. Yes. I'm not going to say no to a chip. I must wash the waistline, no, but I will. And I will take not one chip, but 3 chips.
You can have more than that, I'm sure. Come on. You brought the hot chocolate, I brought the chips, soggy and cold as they may be. I have eaten the fish, I'm very sorry.
No, that's fine. Chips are perfectly fine for me. Dip them in some sauce.
How are we, Blaze?
We're doing great. And I'm just lifting up one of the massive cinnamon buns, and it's like, I'm good with the chips.
Would you like
We're talking massive Cinnabons, like what are we talking about here?
Well, Blaze is really small, so it's probably normal size cinnamon buns, but to Blaze, it's like the size of his hands, it's huge. So it's just like, I'm good. Do you want me to heat those up for you?
Oh, the chips?
Actually, probably not.
Huxley begins to look around the library.
Not again. Yeah. The blanket, I pull the blanket a little bit more tightly over me.
I just turn to one of the nearby bookshelves and push a slightly singed book further onto the shelf.
Huxley will move the piles of his prize books just slightly backwards, just in case.
It's okay. I'm in control a bit now. That was one time, and I apologized, and I tried to fix it. Ish. Hot chocolate. Thank you. Where's everyone else? Are they here yet?
As if like perfect timing. Evie, how would Tine appear?
Tine waltzes into the corner with a wind blowing with her. Just this mid-sized kind of leaf-looking blue Air Genasi with like quite an opulent dress and a casual robe slung over that is kind of billowing in the breeze. And she comes in with some Rice Krispie cakes that are, for some reason, slightly singed with a little hay sweet atop each one. He just waltzes in and says, "Sorry, I'm late again. Molding young minds. Everyone wants a piece of Tine these days, but everyone also wants a piece of Rice Krispie cakes."
Oh, gosh.
Oh, yes, that sounds rather nice. Thank you very much.
Tine, is that a hay sweet atop the old Rice Krispie cake?
Oh, yes, it is. Do you partake?
Hay isn't usually the sort of thing that I tend to eat, but I hear it's pretty refreshing.
Yes, we didn't have it 2,000 years ago, but it was one of the first sweets that, we tried when we came from the past. So it's got a special place in my heart, so I wanted to share it with all of you.
That's very kind, Tine. Thank you.
I'll trade you a cinnamon bun for one.
Question, is there a chaise longue? in this corner.
There will be now.
Yes, there is.
I think it's been added, right? Like that there was a request early on. It's like, could we really get one of these in? And it's been accommodated.
Dramatically reclines on the chaise longue and kind of motions to Aldrich for a hot chocolate.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
And thank you. She's very much at home in her corner.
So I feel like a natural, almost like comes at that moment as the first set of snacks get passed around. Nathan, maybe unlike you, but last to arrive this time.
It is. I think generally, yes, my character tries to show up early or exactly on time. But a few minutes go by, chit chat happens, and then everyone becomes aware of this quiet outside of the room, where whatever small little chatter going on in the otherwise already quiet library around this kind of back corner has hushed a little bit. And then kind of like hulking around a corner is a gigantic diamond dragonborn, blue colorations, and just somehow both like 6'7" and a square all at the same time. And you see this shadowy outline, and you see there's a great sword strapped to this creature's back and is carrying maybe a shield, is carrying a bag of something, and then dramatically kind of steps forward, and you guys would know this to be Grimnir Dirgeblade, Reaver, Battle Lord, Pillager, Dungeon Delver, Drunkard, and recent entrant into therapy, and member of the book club. He is carrying the shield is actually just two mismatched, large, very fancy like banquet platters that are made of actual silver and like way fancier than they should be. And he bustles in and is like, I'm late. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. Well, I brought snacks. I forgot, and then I had to go to a vendor. And then like clangs down one platter, clangs down a second platter, and then takes this like sack that he's holding and then just empties it onto the table or whatever that we have of all of the otherwise small, nice snacks. And they are just full turkey legs. And he says, I had to pick some up. Alaric, I promise. Only half of them have bacon on it. I know you're trying to watch the figure, so those are for you. And then he already starts taking this his second platter and grabs 3 of the turkey legs that he just brought out, 2 cinnamon buns, several clawfuls of chips, and is already loading up, and takes a seat also on a pile of bean bags. But this is 5 bean bags that have been kind of assembled. And he is wearing essentially the fantasy equivalent of a blue gingham shirt and khaki pants and boat shoes, whatever the equivalent of that is, but just the most basic put together, I'm a normal person who shops at Fantasy Old Navy outfit that he possibly can. It's like, do we start yet? Oh, hey, how's everyone doing? The cinnamon roll, great, really good.
We haven't started yet, Grimnir. I have told you before that you don't need to come to the library so prepared for battle. It really is a safe space here. You can relax.
Yeah, I forgot to leave the sword at home.
Does Huxley believe Grimnir?
No, you don't need to roll an insight check even a little bit. You don't need to do that. It's 0%. He has shown up maybe one time in the history of this book club and was visibly uncomfortable, and you found a hidden dagger on him later. That's what we're talking about. I was rushed, and Yeah, I'll put it down. And he puts it down like next to him, like leaning on him.
Well, Mr. Dirgeblade, it's always good when you're here. Thank you for coming.
I'm really excited. This book, this week's book was really, really thought-provoking, I'll say.
Who do you think was last week's book? Who recommended it? Was it maybe Tine?
I feel like it was Tine. Yeah.
I was going to say, I think it was Tine's one.
Yeah. On the table is just The Dragon Within by Tine Vandermeer, with a little subheading that also says, and also by Martin Berry-Burble. Just in very small writing. You almost can't see it, it's so small.
But I mean, that Tine gave any credit to a ghost or co-writer. That's pretty impressive. So
it took a lot of humbling. I know it's so inspiring, but the product had to be made, and dear Martin, he did his part. Bless him. He listened so attentively that I figured a small ounce of credit, just a small one, was worth his due, because I am again selfless.
It was a really good story, but it was a bit like all over the place in the middle sometimes.
Huh?
What?
Hoke, stop. Shut up.
Perhaps, Blaze, you could elaborate on this. I would very much like to hear precisely what it was, Blaze, that you didn't like. Tine, you could learn from this. I know you're an extraordinary writer, and you've been through so much. But imagine if you could be better.
Imagine if Martin Berry-Burble could do his job properly.
I think that might be it. It was nothing. The content was amazing, and the names and things, and it was just sometimes the interactions between people seemed a bit standoffish at times. Kind of, there was a current theme through the book, and I kind of really struggled to kind of get in to the emotion of the story sometimes. Very rarely, occasionally. Help me, Alari.
Cinnamon bun in his mouth.
I don't know what you mean. Above all else, it was a story of friendship, overcoming adversity.
Mm-hmm.
So it just worries me what you might have in your heart, what you might be projecting onto this work of art and literature.
Almost to break the tension, you hear it's a very familiar, especially to Huxley, sound, which is the clicking and clapping of heels against hard wood. Very specific noise that all staff and students and anybody in between knows to hide, or at least bow your head and make sure you stay quiet. For Huxley's benefit, this would be Miss Sildo Stonestar. You can hear a rushed step as she appears. This is a high elf. She's probably around in her 50s and 60s at this point. Actually, no, I'm a high elf.
The version of elf.
Yeah, their version of that. Stood very well dressed in the leader of the library's garments, very well dressed, prim, proper, everything's very crisp and tidy. And she's holding her shoulders, and she has the classic squared rectangular glasses that sit right on the very edge of her nose, so she can get that beautiful down look at anybody that displeases her. Mr. Huxley?
Miss Stonestar, you've finally come to join my book club. I'm so excited that you're here.
Well, I didn't know there was a book club here anyway. I'd like to ask you why, on the third row up, on the right, on every single corridor leading to this place, all the books have been knocked off by something that looks like a greatsword.
Grimnir, instinctively, as this person entered, stood up respectfully, just the intensity of the moment, thinking oh yeah, this is light. And you see just eyes shoot down to the greatsword, but says nothing while stuffing his face with turkey legs.
Miss Stonestar, I've been here this entire time, but should you wish for those books to be rectified, all you need to do is ask, which is what I believe you've done.
What is that ungodly smell?
Cinnamon buns.
Would you like one?
Have you done off your work?
I'll mage hand one towards her.
She holds her hands up like... My question.
I made them myself.
In terms of the work that I have done, Miss Stonestar, yes, I have done that. There may be some additional items for me to complete, but they are thoroughly scheduled in on my agenda.
Right, very good. Very good. I had a question, but I couldn't bring myself to come speak to you. Do you know if the shepherds have got anything else for you to do? You've been here a couple of weeks now.
Well, yes. I'm taking a leave of absence here temporarily. And I'm sure once the shepherds have something for me, we'll both know.
What you're saying is I'm going to have to find something for you to do.
Well, as you've already mentioned, Miss Stonestar, respectfully, there are some books that need arranging on the third shelf, 3 shelves up along the corridor. So, yes, you're correct.
Right. Well, I see you're taking a break, and, I keep getting reminded by the black staff that the staff deserve breaks. So, I shall leave you to it.
Very kind of you, thank you.
Yes, and just sort of she like turns and then like half cocks her head back and like almost as swift as a shush would come out of her mouth, an unruly student making too much noise. Her hand just snatches the cinnamon bun and she marches off.
I think that went well.
I'm going to stop pretending to read my book now.
Yeah, we both got our books now.
She walks away. Can I just kind of prestidigitate a smell of rotten eggs that she can just walk into?
Yeah, you just said, oh my gosh.
Sorry.
It was Alaric again.
I mean, really.
Huxley.
Yes, Grimnir.
How do you tolerate such disrespect?
I wouldn't call
such tone.
I wouldn't call it disrespect. I don't think she's read enough fantasy. I really think if she were to read of adventure and good overcoming evil, she'd be a much, much different person.
Nah, she's got a stick up her ass.
You
hear from on the shelf of the window, a plant is sat there. It looks very similar to like a Venus flytrap, but the mouth of the Venus flytrap is moving. Huxley, you know this is Crockpot.
Crockpot.
Crockpot. They are just a reading companion. You will most likely set up a book every time you leave, and you're the only person that ever gives them a fly or any water. But they, as simple as it goes.
Crockpot, not so loud. I know Miss Stonestar is allowed to speak as loudly as she likes in the library, but we really must keep our voices hushed. But if you'd like to turn my page for me, I would very much appreciate it.
All right. All I'm going to say is it wouldn't hurt if, just asked, said please.
I agree for once with this terrible plant creature.
The big lid is talking again.
Glares.
Grimnir tends to do talking, don't you, Grimnir? You're very good at it.
Yeah. All right.
I am trying to be better.
I'm just a bit tense, every time she comes in here, I'm always scared she's going to throw me out window.
Well, if
you're not a tent, you're a plant.
Well, if she throws you out of the window, we'll have to throw her out of the window.
Oh, Oh, I like it when you make those sort of insinuations. Yeah, and then it'd be crackpot, not crockpot.
Don't want to crack your pot, crockpot, do we? No.
Hey, see what's it right. What's the next book? I'm right excited.
I'm glad that you asked. Gather round, everyone. I know we had a horrid disturbance from the head librarian, but if we could all settle down, as we normally do. Huxley brings out quite an old-looking book. Perhaps aptly titled The Missing Pages. And this is a collection of short tales written by Denier the Prattler. Huxley likes to sort of sit with that in his lap, and he lets you all know, well, Denier the Prattler had a big beard just like me. He did waffle, not like me, I hope. And there's a bit of an awkward silence. So, this is where we're going to begin. Tine, thank you for your last entry. It was very informative and well fleshed out.
Thank you.
If you could sign mine, I would be very thankful to you.
Of course. It just kind of does a big flourish.
Thank you. And I guess I'm going to open the book.
So, you open the book, and there's a little sigh of slight disappointment as the first 2 pages are like almost stuck together from like a coffee stain of some sort, or someone doing something they shouldn't be, like drinking or eating next to this very nice book.
Clarification.
I'm going to look sternly at Alaric because of the hot chocolate, obviously.
As you look at Alaric, there's just a little drop of hot chocolate about to fall down onto his nice sort of suit.
Catch it quickly with my mate hand.
But the first 2 pages are stuck together, so you turn them over. And that disappointment almost doubles as the pages have been ripped out.
Liz is personally offended by this, Mike. Ow. Who would do such a thing? Does everybody else have this book, Mike, or is it just Huxley?
It's just the one.
Okay.
But what you usually do is then sit down once you've kind of like presented it and talked about it a little bit. You'd then, I imagine Huxley would sit down and then rewrite the book multiple times for everybody so they have their own copy, unless you have someone generous like Tine who has multiple copies of her book at all times.
Give out to literally everyone.
But yeah, if they're a more specific or old book that you only have one copy of, I imagine you sit down. But at the end of the day, you gain great insight and benefit from reading the book and writing it out multiple times.
Sadly, I can't start at the beginning, which is something that I like to do. We'll have to start on page 5. I was just counting out page 1, page 2, page 3. Yeah, page 5. If that's all right with everyone, I'm sorry. The missing pages, it is living up to its name already.
Okay, if it comes to the worst, we can just read my book again.
Grimnir suddenly has his sword in his hand. He's like, I can try to get the pages apart.
You could do that, Grimnir, for which we would be eternally thankful to you for. Mike, what's on page 5?
It's like a dystopian fairy tale, or the start of one anyway. It's like a rip-off of Red Riding Hood. Or I guess the original in this version. But yeah, they're very creepy, but yeah, and only leads a couple of pages. But you notice on the top of the chapters, it sort of says, don't read ahead if you've not read the first one.
Right, so it's telling me to not read ahead, but I have to.
Yeah.
Okay.
You kind of, it's not oxymoron.
Right, well, I'll begin. And the trees clawed the sky, the mist swirled around them. Red decided to wander through the woods, scared as she was, as to what would befall her.
As you say, the trees, the room around you dims.
I meant to do that.
Where the stands of the cabinets that keep all of the shelving of the books, the sides slowly begin to crack as the smooth, sanded, stained wood begins to almost show like knocks of wood, and bark begins to crust out on them. Huxley, totally unaware, the four of you kind of look around as the wood expands slowly and slowly turns into more of a spherical trunk shape. The books begin to get slowly shoved and fall off one after the other, yet Huxley still doesn't notice. When Huxley mentions the mist, you notice the floor. You're not in for a second. Blaze panics, thinking you might have set something alight, but you realize this mist is matching with Huxley's cadence as it slowly lifts up. The room around you, Huxley, when you look up, sort of waiting for a comment or an excitement or a gasp, you notice that all five of you are now sat in a forest. The same chairs and the same table still in front of you.
I'm going to shut the book really quickly.
Your magic is getting so good, Huxley. I feel like I'm right here in a forest.
Are we dreaming?
Transformative. I was going to say that it's the transformative magic of fiction, but this is a bit more literal.
Brunir punches himself in the face.
Oh.
I slap Alaric.
No. I think not dream. Not dream.
DM, please, may I just do a cheeky little arcana check on the book that I just read?
Give me one.
I'm going to nervously summon Stampy as well. And for those who haven't seen Stampy, Stampy is my scribe wizard. I can't remember what they call it. But he looks like a book stamp with googly eyes on him. It's my instinct thing to do if there's trouble. And yes, if I could do an arcana check.
Mm-hmm. While you do that, can everybody pair me off with a wisdom saving throw as well, please?
I believe I have advantage on these.
Very good at those.
28 on arcana, Mike.
17.
17?
Saving throw. After rolling an 18 on the die.
13 through Alaric.
Mine's just rolling. 17.
Tina?
Sorry.
And Huxley?
Oh, wisdom save, sorry.
Yes, please.
Okay. A whopping 10, Mike.
Whopping 10. So anybody that rolled underneath a 16,
Hooray.
every time you speak, you finish your sentence with Huxley said, or Grimnir pronounced. Every passive thought that you have comes out in narrative, as if you have a thought, you go, Huxley thought this was slightly strange.
Huxley was terrified.
Are you still terrified?
Huxley paused for a moment, considering what Blaze had just said.
Wait. Are you actively no terrified? Were you?
Huxley said, yes, I am currently terrified.
Tina moved her weight to one hip and regarded the party, and thought to herself, what was in those cinnamon buns?
What was in those hay sweets?
Alaric looks around shocked and then exclaims, what is going on?
No, honestly, what is going on?
I am very uncomfortable with all of this. And he's like, this is Nathan describing what Grimnir is doing, not Grimnir describing what Grimnir is doing. He's like taking in these like deep measured breaths and is actively holding his greatsword just in two hands, just while taking these deep cleansing breaths. It's like this, I'm getting a little confused. What?
Are we doing a first-person book club? Huxley, are you surprising us with a theme?
Huxley pondered.
Very clever, Huxley.
Blaze is confident.
Huxley pondered, wanting to impress Blaze, but then instead decided to look at the book, which he assumed had brought he and his friends here, and gazed at it in wonder.
With a 28, you realise quite swiftly, although very tricksy and very clever, and you definitely not heard anything as elegant and smooth a transition, you've definitely passed to another place. Book kind of puts half and half together of the book's taking you somewhere. You don't have enough evidence of where this place is, but overall, you have a couple of working theories. End of a plane of existence, another demi-plane, or an entire shunt. But yeah, a couple of working theories with a 28. You haven't got nailed it, but you definitely are aware that the book is what's to blame.
Reluctant to answer, and worried at what his friends might think of him, Huxley replied, "I think it's the book. It certainly brought us to this place. It could be a different plane. I'm sorry. I had no idea."
Just turn towards Grimnir. It's okay, Grimnir. Deep breaths. We're safe. Blaze said confidently.
Liz, is Huxley holding the book? Bill?
Yes, although considering putting it back down on the floor again.
It is now just suddenly in two pieces, as Grimnir has sliced it in half as soon as you said, maybe it's the book.
Could I do a dexterity saving throw? Because as much as Huxley needs to save the books.
Just give me a roll to hit with your sword, and you just got to beat that. Whether that happens.
11.
I think you can fail.
Somehow only a 12.
So Huxley surprising himself. You managed to be quite surprisingly quick, almost predicting Grimnir's reactive nature. But you're just too quick. And with the pages get ripped in half.
Alaric.
Did that fix it?
Alaric's face goes white as a sheet as he looks between Huxley and Grimnar and says with a quiver in his voice, I think that might have been the way for us to get back. And then he walks towards Blaze and cowers behind him.
I use my blanket and I kind of wrap Alaric around in the blanket. It's okay, Alaric. I don't know why you're speaking weird, but you can start speaking normally now, please. Thank you.
Alaric looks towards Blaze emotionally and says nothing.
We still have all the food and stuff, right?
Yeah, you're still sat down.
I'll just mage hand some chips, some cold chips over from Huxley's beanbag, and it's okay, Alaric.
Alaric takes the chips and eats them, and a slight shiver comes out of his mouth as he realizes they are now stone cold.
Unable to look at Grimnir in the eyes due to disappointment, Huxley tries to cast Mending, knowing it's not going to work on the book. Does it work on the book, Mike?
To be fair, not No, it doesn't not work. But
that's the worst way a DM could answer any question.
So it almost like you can see some of the fibers have almost like attached slightly at the leather back, but it's definitely not together.
Unsatisfied with his performance, Huxley manages to look Grimnir in the eyes and says, I've done my best. In future, Grimnir, please refrain from resorting to slashing books in twain. It's one of the worst deeds someone can do. And we've talked about this before.
Grimnir looks admonished and, yeah. Sorry.
If there's an enemy, Huxley exclaimed in a hushed voice. If there's an enemy, by all means, but books are not enemies. Books are friends.
I don't know. There was one book in a cave back in 17 years ago or something. It was an enemy, I'll tell you.
Walks up a little sheepishly and says to Huxley, with a curious expression on her face, may I see the book for a moment? I would like to try something.
Huxley, looking towards Tine, with a friendly glance, more friendly than the one he gave Grimnir, hesitates, wondering if it's a trick, but then proceeds to give Tine the book, wondering if Tine could perhaps be a little more humble on occasion, but hands the book over promptly.
What a wonderfully meandering.
Wonders to herself, is this what friendship is? Does anyone really trust me? Am I even worthy of love? And takes the book.
Huxley graciously says, there you are, Tine. I hope there's something you can do.
Tine says, thank you, give me a moment, while thinking to herself, maybe friendship just makes you feel bad, and that's what it is. Okay, let's try this. It's a double-edged sword, these thoughts. Is going to just try to, on the pages that were stuck together, let's kind of open it where it's been wet and kind of try to use prestidigitation to like heat little bits and then use a little bit of a breeze to see if she can get them a little bit unstuck.
That's really cool. Give me a sleight of hand to see sort of...
Sure.
Seeing Tine do this, could I help by helping produce the flame just to heat things up?
Yes, but I'm going to need an Arcana check from you. As you've been known to not be trusted with fire.
Me? The fire?
You canonized it.
Oh, it's D&D Bond's being a bit slow. 1 second.
You can definitely do it at advantage, seeing as you literally are the thing that you're trying to do.
I'll roll the one and D&D Beyond, but it's being a bit slow with the dice. So the first one's a 7, and the second one was an 8.
Just going to go like... Seeing that it's a bit unpredictable, just kind of tries to take it away and kind of like... Blaze, would you let me do my thing, dear?
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. I was trying to help.
I know you were. She nodded sympathetically, suppressing a sardonic eye roll. I got a 15 on the dice, so that is a 17.
17? It's getting there, you know. You're slowly starting to put it together. You might have maybe mishmatched a couple of the leather and paper fibers a little bit, so the book is not quite shutting as normal. But overall, it's not a terrible fix. You all sort of are looking at this book almost desperately in a way. looking at it as your sort of hope for escape. And you can hear laughing. And sat between Blaze and Alaric, a silver-haired gentleman.
Wait, under the blanket that I put over Alaric, it's just someone snuck in.
In between you. And he is holding Teena's book. And he's like, bloody hell, so I lived a right life here. What's going on? And sort of like licks his fingers and sort of carries on paging through. Do you have here? Hello.
Alaric jumps out of his skin, out from underneath the blanket, rolls across the floor, cricks his back, and then stands next to Huxley like, "Who the bloody hell are you?" he shouts towards this silver-haired gentleman who has appeared in front of him.
Well, that is getting old. And swipes his hand, and all of you no longer voice your thoughts, feelings, and all of the above. Sorry, it's just a funny joke that I like to play, but let's just have normal conversation. And then if you fancied it, I can let you do it again. Whose book is this?
You clearly are a person of literature, of high learning. You have excellent taste in books.
Thank you.
What can we call you?
Well, I go by the Prattler these days. In fact, let me show you what's exactly going on. And clicks his fingers, and the forest and mist around you like swizzles and turns, and you almost end up in this whirlpool of leaves and trees and mist as it spins and spins. All of you almost feel forced back into your seats. Like in a roller coaster, a spinning roller coaster, and you almost get pushed to the back of your seats as you all spin. And the Prattler sits there and he's like, let's go! As you spin. And then it shunts to a stop. And around you, this unimaginable hall sits. You're still on your chair, and you have your table with surprisingly unbroken and all still present food that you brought. But around you, this gargantuan library. But not a library with corridors or anything like that. It is just this huge room, thousands and thousands of feet long and wide, and on each side are these hundreds and hundreds of meters books that line up to the point where you look up and you cannot see it ending. The floor around you is just this incredibly clean, sparkling marble. The gentleman sits there with a raised eyebrow, almost a little cockily. Welcome to my short stories.
Might I interject? You say you're the Prattler, as in Denier the Prattler who wrote The Missing Pages, a collection of short tales. The book which brought us here.
That's one of my books. Yeah. Well, it's not supposed to. You're supposed to just read it.
So it wasn't you that enchanted this book?
Well, let me have a look at the book. Give me here.
I'm sorry,
We had an accident.
Yes.
Right, well, this explains it. Someone's tainted my literature. Who did it?
Which specific taint? I'm sorry. There are many misgivings of the book.
Right.
2 of the pages were stuck together. Some were missing.
That's number 1.
It was me. I cut it in half.
You cut it.
I cut it. I accept the blame.
We've got another 4 pages missing.
I ripped them out. message to Huxley. Is this the right thing to be doing? I kind of just felt like...
Oh, no, don't antagonize the Prattler. You didn't do any of this. Just act normal.
Grimnir, without hearing any of this side conversation and feeling immensely guilty, steps up next to Tina and says, and I ate the 4 pages. The missing ones. I also share responsibility.
Yeah. Mr. Prattler, we're making up our own story. You inspired us so greatly that we are creating our own literature. Fortunately, it doesn't have any pages. We are simply acting it out together. And I look, Huxley looks very sternly at Grimnir and Tine in a, please, let's just get this straight.
As players of old, we play our story out verbatim to be transcribed at a later date for the enjoyment of others. This is simply our creative process.
Right, who else wants to top up on this? Who's next? I'm excited to hear these, this story. Who's next?
Alaric is currently sitting on the floor in a puddle of his own sick from all of the spinning and whirling around.
No.
I'm trying to clean up the... this floor is very dirty. Let me just quickly help by cleaning this up.
I provide expert opinions on food and beverages to most accurately describe them within the literature. Here, have a cinnamon bun. I made them myself.
All right. It's a great show of character. People that bake and bring them to other people. I find it delightful.
Thank you.
Right, let me try this. Now, this is a gentleman of high taste. What are the standards of these cinnamons? I don't know. You can either make a character decision, Blaze / Johnny, or you can trust the dice.
So, Blaze, I think Blaze is a very good baker. Like, that's what he loves doing in his spare time. But I feel like these cinnamon buns were more of a, I'm about to go to bed. It's 11 o'clock. I've got book club tomorrow. Oh my God, I haven't made anything. Quick, what do I have in the cupboards? So I think I'm going to go, you have to go with dice, obviously. But I just want to set the expectation that Blaze is normally quite good. So,
okay, I think we'll give you some guidance, shall we? Well, you can have a D4 on top.
That's very kind. What should I roll for?
So just a D20 performance check with the benefit of guidance on top.
Oh, I need to... How do I'll roll it with it. So that's a 2 on the D4, and the performance roll, sorry, I have to get my dice, is a 23, so 25.
These are some damn good cinnamon rolls.
Oh my God.
You see, like, he takes that first bite, and you see him, like, hold the cinnamon there. And he closes his eyes. And you see him slowly. That's almost spiritual, man. Oh. Right, I think we need a cup of tea for this. If we're going to eat these, right, clicks his fingers and a pot of tea and china appears for everybody. And it's hot, steaming, well steeped already, ready to go. And he picks one up. As he goes to pick up the china, the book just floats in front of him as he's got one hand with the cinnamon roll, one hand with the tea. So usually, if one messes with a god of storytelling, especially one of their books, you get in a lot of trouble. So probably what happened here is I wrote my, short stories for the world to enjoy, and then someone decided to, ruin it. And when you ruin something, you get told off. Alaric, you didn't make up a part of the story. I know you were busy a moment ago, but I'd like to hear what you've got to say.
What I've got to say? Sorry, a bit of the old man came out in me then.
You noticed the fun in him disappeared.
No. Not much to tell, really. We all gathered for a lovely story. We started reading from the book. We noticed that there were some things missing from the book, and we were teleported to this wondrous place where we met your fine self, and the entire time we were eating lovely afternoon tea with chips and buns and hot chocolate and all of those things.
Very clever. Straight to the truth. I like to hear. All right, so looks like there's been a misunderstanding. You didn't break the book first. All right, fair enough, Grimnir maybe jumped the gun. But the point is, you weren't the first to ruin it. So, we're at a difficult position here.
What are the choices? If one must decide, there must be an option A or an option B, and sometimes an option C.
Right. A, I get rid of you from existence and pretend there wasn't a cock-up.
Don't do that. No.
Right. Okay.
Let's not be hasty.
What Huxley means is no, thank you.
Correct. Very much so. Thank you very much for reminding me about my manners, Grimnir. No, thank you, Mr. Prattler.
Are you really a god of storytelling?
One of. There's many of us, but...
Do you want to hear this library?
No, this is just all of mine.
Can I just clarify? You, a god of storytelling, enjoyed my memoir.
I feel like there could be a beautiful, humbling moment here, but I'm not going to do it. Yeah, no, not bad.
Oh, I'm so genuinely touched. Can I put that on a quote on the back?
How much would you charge for that?
We can work out an arrangement.
All right. Sure, why not?
Oh, this has been a rather good book club meeting.
Well, I do enjoy when
existence aside.
I do enjoy when people really, although embellish, don't get me wrong, who doesn't? It's the truth, and that's what matters the most. In every story, in everything that you should write from your truth, and that matters. So, Huxley, you asked for a plan B.
Or C.
Or C, all right. B, you work here forever. Be my librarians. Organise every single book here.
I don't mean to be rude, but it already looks very organised. I don't think there's much else we could do with it.
Very astute of you. I'm just a little bit lonely. Anyway, number C. Well, there's 4 pages missing. 4 short stories.
We could fill in those stories for you.
We could write them.
I knew you guys were quick. Yeah. Well, there's something missing that needs to be fixed. And how are we going to do that? We write some more short stories. So, should we sit down and write some stories? Well, let's take a tour. Have a little look around. Give you some inspiration.
Why do I feel like there's another boot about to drop? This isn't just going to be a creative writing project.
You guys are way too quick.
It's not.
I have a feeling we might have to live these stories in order for them to go into the book.
I think so too, Alaric. Yes.
What? No.
I mean, I have a lot of stories I can tell you about the campaign in the south where we got all those sheep, or that one night with the paladin lady, and the interesting ways you can use lay on hands.
Grimnir,
we
we promised we wouldn't talk about that specific adventurous night.
No more smut after 50 Shades of Fey. We've talked about this.
I have others. I put the book away.
Someone banned Sarah J. Maas from this book club. God damn it.
I like the idea that Alaric, right? Oh my gosh, my brain just short-circuited on how the name was pronounced. And Grimnir just stay after book club and have a second book club that's just smut book club.
Smut book.
Exclusive.
Smut books.
Smut by candlelight. Love it.
Although that sounds fantastic. There's not...
It was.
Wow. Impressive. You lost me for words. Yeah.
I hear that a lot.
To experience it. Learn from it. I want to lock into all of your souls and see the real stories hiding behind each of you. They're all very interesting, more interesting than the last group. It's just a bloody group of bandits who burnt a book just to get one. Ended up here. Got them cleaning and polishing the floor for a while, but... Well,
oh, explains it.
Yeah.
What happened to them?
I'll show you. Come on. And he stands up. Come, follow me. And basically just like marches into like the... It's just so big. And he just looks so little compared to like these huge shelves that go off endlessly. And begins to just sort of march down. Come on, keep up. If I lose you, I'm probably not going to come find you.
Quick.
It is a brisk pace, Alaric. I am sorry.
I think I'm going to cast Long Strider on Alaric. I have it on
Fantastic.
1 sec. So your speed increases by 10 foot for the next minute, I believe.
And he leads you across and walks across and slides a book out and opens it. Here is the bandit.
Wait, I don't see any dead bodies. Or smell them.
Or any
And
live bodies.
He turns the book around and holds it out. And it reads, Day 1. I've been, and it's a diary of being in basically like a demi-plane, but they're living a nice life. From what you can see, they have a family and enjoyment, but they're aware that it's not real and that they're just in this little world, trapped. But it slams it shut. Now that might seem a little harsh, but there is a way out. But they just haven't figured it out in 4,300 years. But I have faith that they'll figure it out.
I think that's older than you, Tine.
Definitely older than you.
Just a bit.
It's even older than Alaric.
I don't think. Am I that old? I can't remember.
We discussed it once, Alaric. We couldn't recall who was older, me or you.
Oh, yes, that's right, yes.
I think it was Alaric who looks older, but Huxley is older.
I think both of those are offensive, Blaze, but I think you're correct.
Shit.
I agree, and I tap Blaze on the head with my cane.
Fair though, there's some people here that have come willingly. Can you imagine this library, eternity, not going old?
I mean, I'd like it. I mean, look how many... Huxley, you must be in heaven right now.
Huxley is looking around very, very suspicious, but so tempted to go and just look at all the books. He wants to smell them and look at all of them and spend a long time here. It's all right, Blaze.
Rattler, do you have a chair made out of books?
No, but that's brilliant.
Like,
clicks his finger and immediately.
I just whispered to Huxley, your chair with books is bigger.
It is.
I have a question, Mr. Prattler, if that's okay.
G'day. Sure.
So, all of the books here, do these stories also exist in our world to also be consumed? Or are they just kind of your own personal collection?
No, aye, some of them. As far as I'm aware, if I write it in here, it appears in the material world.
So in a way, these bandits have achieved storytelling immortality.
In fact, I'm pretty sure this one is in the very same library you guys came from.
Anything written in this universe appears in ours, is that correct? Or does it have to be you that does the writing?
That's a really interesting question. Shall we find out?
I have an idea. Do you have a pen and paper?
I have a quill, Blaze, if you would like.
Yeah, one moment. And clicks his finger once again, as ever, very elegantly. And a stunning, like the dream journaling table appears with a beautiful leather chair with whoever sits in it, the chair changes to be perfect for your back's arc. And the table has every single piece of parchment you could think of, all with each of your named, like individual. They're made up, but they look incredible. They're almost like what your mind would make up after hours and hours of trawling, your own little name stamps that would go on traditional letter making. You can see there is 5. Yes, exactly, and the individual stamps. There is a bookbinder. There are sort of areas to sort of set up an entire book, and a selection of all the quills. But almost out of respect, there is a inkwell empty for Huxley's quill.
Huxley's a little bit embarrassed by his quill. He's just going to pop it back in his robe. I have an animated one anyway. Don't worry, Blaze. Feel free to use the very nice selection in front of you.
You know, Huxley, I've always found that stories and literature is always the best when it's done through legitimacy. When you're being yourself, you're not using other people, you're using what is familiar to you. I wouldn't ever put your quill away in this place and feel embarrassed, because that in here is your most powerful weapon.
Huxley will reluctantly pull out the quill and pass it across to Blaze.
Are you sure?
As your hand reaches out to take it, I'll kind of pull back in the old man way, though. And then I'll give it back to you again.
My hand doesn't actually touch the quill. I have like a mage hand, which is like a second skin type thing, and like almost like a little spectral kind of second layer to hold it, so I don't burn anything. Are you sure? You have never let me. I have tried for so many years.
I know you have. Of course, yes. If there's any place, I suppose this is it.
Oh, Prattler, your magic is so strong. What have you done to Huxley? I just turned to everyone really proud. Look. So I can write something and we'll see if it works.
Yeah.
Can I need some ink?
Sit and write, and you notice that Huxley's pen begins to what colour or sort of vibe is Huxley's magic? If you could remind us.
Oh, very pastel colours. So pink, purple, white, blue, all of those.
If your
shades.
energy was to come off this quill as Blaze writes, how would you think it would look?
It would certainly bear all the colours of Huxley's fur. And there would be the smell of old books as they are opened as the pen traverses across the parchment. There'd be the smell of leather. I sound like what's that perfume? Is it Tom Ford? Anyway, it's really nice and it smells beautiful as you write whatever you're writing.
Give us a little download, Blaze. What has Blaze decided to go for on this page?
So once upon a time, when Blaze was transported to a library, he suddenly found he was several inches taller. He's like,
yeah, you grow several inches taller. Nah, I'm just kidding. And then you go down slightly.
Oh, you suck.
How cool would it be if you could just write and things would just happen right here?
I was about to write a lot. You have no idea. I may hand the quill back over towards Huxley, but I shouldn't be tempted.
Did you leave a full stop there? Out of interest.
I did. Of course I did.
You notice, but all of you, I imagine, are paying quite a lot of attention. The letters glow in the same colour and fashion of Huxley's magic, and almost as a swipe, almost like someone's hand has been put on top of the page and swiped it off the table, it flutters away and sort of switches off into like a bird, like a really elegant bird shape of the paper as it flies up and slots itself into the huge library bookshelves. But just before it does, a shimmering pear doubles and the second page, almost translucent, appears and dissipates. Oh, look! It does. When you write something, one copy will go to the material plane and one copy will stay here. That's really cool. I can't believe in 10,000 years I've never thought of that.
And so, what did I just do?
You wrote a very empty book.
Someone's going to buy a book. I'd be really disappointed.
Yes.
I'm really sorry, Prattler, for disappointing you.
I mean, I just think you need to take a step, create a bit of creative excitement, and I think that's just what we're going to have to do. So, let's tell a story. And who do we have first? We'll find out. As you all back to your seats, and you can see him still stood far off in the library side, and you have all been forced back onto your seats. And you can look across, and he's just stood there, waving away. And the books all morph and blur as you go back into this spin. and you spin. Alaric, let's throw a Constitution saving throw out. Let's see what happens.
I mage hand over his mouth, so if something happens, it stays.
Huxley's like grabbing on his shoulder as that happens as well. So
17.
Yeah, you keep it in.
Yeah, buddy.
And shunt back. Immediately, you all lock each other's eyes as a torrent of rain drops on you.
Oh!
You look around. Yes, immediately the steam is given off by Blaze. You look around and you're in a swamp of sorts. You know, you've got the willowing, bendy trees around everywhere. It's dark, it's misty once again. The floor is like, it's that classic moss where as soon as you put your foot down and sink into the moss, water replaces on top of your boot. It's not to the point where you're like, you know, like wading through, but it's mossy and swampy and wet. And this torrent of rain is, I mean, let's be honest, Grimnir looks incredible, glistening with all that water. But apart from that, it might not be potentially the best circumstances. Testing, 1, 2. Can you hear me?
Yes.
That was very loud.
The heroes. Nah. The adventurers. What's a good adjective for you all? You got a name?
The players. Wait, no.
No.
Not again, Grimnir.
A fourth wall just broke in my brain. Anyway.
Librarians are quite severe. We could be the librarians.
The librarians. Oh, the librarians book club. Okay.
It's actually called Huxley's Book Club, but we haven't done any banners or anything like that yet.
The Huxley and the book clubbers.
Yeah.
The and the book clubbers.
Huxley and the librarians.
And the book clubbers.
That's like a pop band.
Find themselves lost.
Yep.
True.
What?
Confirmed.
In a torrent of rain. Do we want lightning, or is lightning a bit too much?
No, never too much.
Oh, damn. And it like a huge like as one of the trees just explodes next to you. See, it was storytelling already. We find ourselves in a torrent storm. You're trying to find your way. Now you know what you're looking for is in front of you. But which direction is in front?
That.
Are we all facing the same direction?
No, you're all facing each other.
Hold on. This is like the time with the lady in the lake thing. Wait. Okay. Hold this, and like gestures to whoever's closest to like hand them his like slab of metal greatsword. I don't like doing what I'm about to do with it. You'll see. And then after someone takes it, he just spins around dramatically, his eyes closed, and just like a top just spins and then stops, and then like peeks open an eye, and then it's like, that way is the way.
I like his style.
This sword is very heavy. Can you take it back now, please?
Yes, please. And he like grabs it immediately and like is just like holding onto it tight.
That direction? I mean, is there anything, or is it just rain?
It's rain, but there is a pass there. Like between two trees, you can see there is like almost like a winding lead. It's a mud path. There's definitely nothing particularly fancy about it. You look to the left and right, and there are little gaps in the swamps elsewhere, but
I think it doesn't really matter what way we actually go. If we are writing a story, then the narrative will take us in the direction that we need to go anyway. But let's go the way that Grimnir has pointed us.
Mr. Prattler, I think you missed a bit out in the story when the lightning flashes, revealing the path that we take forward.
Make a persuasion check.
I help by nodding sagely.
So that's a 13. That's off the desk. A 13. And a 5.
In the direction Grimnir points, an explosion lights and like a lightning door sort of arch appears.
Oh, wonderful. I guess that is the way. Tina will kind of do a little hand motion, and a ball of light will kind of go like 15 feet in front to kind of light our way. It's like, come on, book clubbers, adventure awaits.
Oh, I'm retired from adventuring, but I suppose I'm going to have to do it. Let's go.
Yeah, guys, and like this is as we're walking, Grimnir's like, guys, look, Dr. Bramblefoot, my therapist, said I should take a break from adventuring. I'm in a transition, I think, part of my life, or my journey is what he says, whatever. So I don't really know what to do with that information, but like if we could do like a medium to mild amount of adventuring, and that's like kind of where we cap it, that would be, I think, good.
Dr. Bramblefoot said the same thing to me, but that was 14 years ago, and I'm still going without adventuring.
It's okay, loves. We've got me and Blaze here to take the brunt of the adventuring rigor.
Yeah,
we got this.
We got this.
I worry if I start adventuring, I won't be able to stop adventuring, and that's, we're just.
Well, it's adventure now or be wiped from existence. So let's just take it easy. Take it ease in, and then we'll ease back out.
I am slightly worried though. Mr. Prattler, can you not listen for a minute?
Hi, I'll go boil the kettle.
Thank you. Eat some more of the cinnamon buns. They're still on the table. I don't know how. He's not listening. Okay. I reach into. Actually, I think Alaric would probably be carrying it for me. So I kind of rustle over to Alaric and I pull out a book that's completely empty, apart from Alaric's name on the front page. And I'm just like, can you write your name in my book, please? Everyone.
Why?
Just in case anything goes wrong. Just write your name. Just sign it.
It's perfectly fine. Don't worry. I've done it plenty of times.
If Alaric falls off a big ladder and breaks his neck doesn't break, but the name disappears from my book.
I have been known to fall off a ladder a couple of times, especially in the library at Blackstaff. It's like a helpful book.
I thought we were going to be signing our souls away to the genie or something.
No.
Stops us from dying. That's absolutely fine.
Yeah. Well, I mean, kind of. Don't take it too much for granted. It's just like a stopgap thing. Just in case he's not as, it's not just water that he throws at us,
In your case, just water might be deadly enough, my friend.
I know, I don't like it already. It's freezing.
Huxley will sign his name in the book.
Grimnir makes a cool stylized skull and just makes a G next to it. G and a D next to it.
Tina?
Signature, proper autograph style, with the little accent above the E is like a little flame.
Perfect, thank you. And I will. So I'm using, it's the Gift of the Protectors. It's one of my class features. So with my permission, a creature can use one of its action to write its name on the page. I can contain up to 5 names, so it contains all of our names now. And when you drop to 0 hit points, you're not killed, you are instead reduced to 1, but that can only affect 1 person per day. So it's not like if we all go down, we all get it. It's just the first person that affects. And that just lasts until it's used. I'll put the book back into Alaric's satchel for me.
You pass through the Arch of Lightning.
Yes, with a light in front.
We confidently march through the lightning door,
knowing that nothing will befall us when we do.
Oh, hang on. Are you back yet, Mr. Prattler?
Do you want me to be?
For you to chronicle our glorious adventure? Yes.
Oh, right. Chapter 1, think red, but not like a bull. And that's why we'll take a break. We'll be back in about 10-15 minutes. We'll see you then.
We are delighted to be sponsored by HeroForge. HeroForge offers fully customizable tabletop minis with dozens of fantasy species and thousands of parts to choose from. You can see all of the minis that we designed for this stream in the overlay, and they animate when we enter the combat, so look out for that. HeroForge are fantastic, so do check out the Pro membership where you can get premium access to features ahead of time, and beta access to things, and all sorts of cool stuff that just makes your life a lot easier. And you can check them out at heroforge.com.
We are delighted to be sponsored by Ultra Pro. They make accessories for D&D, Magic the Gathering, and more. My favourite part of the collection are their figurines of adorable power. Here is their gazer. They also make other things such as deck boxes if you play Magic the Gathering. You can find all of Ultra Pro stuff at ultrapro.com.
Hey friends, check out our new sponsor, Phoenix Dice, for a carefully curated menagerie of click-clack math rocks for your delectation. Check out their entire selection at phoenixdice.com, and just so you know, Phoenix Dice are all about living gloriously in the worlds of tabletop games and sustainably in this one, which means their dice are working to be recycled, their packaging is recycled, the dice are made of sustainable materials. It's all great stuff. You should definitely get involved. You can also join us today in chat with a chance to be in a raffle and win some Phoenix Dice of your own. Just put !dice into chat and you'll be in with a chance to win.
are proud to be sponsored by Alchemy RPG. Reimagine your gaming experience with Alchemy. They're focused on creating immersive, cinematic experiences everywhere you interact with tabletop role-playing games. Playing a game, creating a world, streaming, watching live games, discovering new content. Look at all the cool stuff that they are doing there. You can use environmental motion art, scene-based music, seamless character management to run your games over the internet, with upcoming features including homebrew content, streaming overlays, and spectator mode. So go and check out alchemyrpg.com.
Pick up your gear and open your chests. Throw on your armor and head out on a quest. Hey, hey, it's a brand new day. On the South Coast, your allies will help with blades and bows and magic as well. Hey, hey, heroes on their way. Fighting together against overwhelming odds. Fighting together in favor of multiple gods. Idle champions of the forgotten realms. Idle champions, adventure never ends. Idle champions, get your wallet there. Idle champions, you will say it again. Idle champions.
We're delighted to be supported by Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms, a Dungeons & Dragons strategy video game that brings together D&D characters from novels, adventures, and multiple live streams into a single grand adventure. Select your heroes and formation and battle through waves of monsters for free on PC, phone, PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo Switch. You can pop exclamation code into chat for a free Electrum test.
We're delighted to be supported by Neverwinter. In Neverwinter, explore and defend one of the most beautiful cities from Dungeons & Dragons' Forgotten Realms campaign setting as it rises from the ashes of destruction. Epic stories, action combat, and classic role-playing await those heroes courageous enough to enter the fantastic world of Neverwinter. Neverwinter is completely free to play, so set yourself up an account today and pop !NW gift into chat for a link to a free gift.
Check out our wonderful supporters Elderwood Academy, who make beautiful bespoke gaming-themed gear, including hex chest dice boxes, spellbook deck boxes disguised as bespoke ancient arcane tomes, and scroll and codex dice tower and rolling tray pairings. Make your own with their online designer at elderwoodacademy.com.
So, welcome back. Last we left off, you, Rattler told you the name of the chapter. And a little reminder, if anybody wants one.
Please.
Chapter 1. Think red, but not likable. The rain is incessant. How are we all feeling about the rain and the place we're in?
Blaze is kind of hovering off the ground slightly, but still with this cloak kind of pulled over him, shivering, and then every now and then kind of flares with a bit of heat to get his body temperature back up, and then goes back to shivering, just kind of floating along, looking pretty sad and sorry for himself.
Huxley's fur is so soggy right now. The pink and the blue is just dripping down his entire body, and he looks forlorn, miserable, and like there's a job to do.
They looks sodden and a fair bit ticked off. Every so often the light cantrip just kind of fades and just kind of presties herself to get her hair in better order so the fun buns are still fun bunning and it's still going in the wind, but then has to do the light again and it's just miserable. Also heels sinking very deep into the swamp.
Alaric's hair, very grey hair with some small black streaks, and it is very sort of down and across his. Looks very flat and very wet. He, even though we haven't done anything yet, he looks very exhausted already, and really does not look like he wants to be here at the minute.
Grimnir is like holding on to his very large greatsword very tightly, and is like walking with his eyes closed and trying to take a lot of deep cleansing breaths. And every once in a while, we'll just like open an eye to make sure that he's going the right direction. But is trying to keep composed.
Speaking of composed, can you give me a dexterity saving throw at disadvantage, please?
Who, moi?
Mm-hmm.
Well, would you say that this is an effect that I can see?
Absolutely not. You closing your eyes.
That's what I wondered. But I rolled a 20, so...
Okay, very good.
Quite dexterous. Well, I'm quite good at evading things.
Yes, you you're squinting, and for some reason, there's a part of you, like the danger sense in you, the veteran, we could say, kicks in, and you sort of slightly open your eyes to a branch that is like right in front of your face. And I feel like with a 20, it's almost quite, just like, whoop.
Do any of us notice that had happened? And does it look like the tree was aiming for Grimnir?
Make a perception check, because I cannot remember your passives. All I need is, does anybody have a silly passive?
22.
Yes, okay. Alaric, you can still make your perception check, but Alaric, you can swear that the branch just kind of like down slightly. Before Grimnir sort of dipped away. Huxley, what did you roll?
It was going to be a natural 1, and then it wasn't, so it's a 15.
With a 15, you notice, you're not entirely sure if it's just like the wind, or if it, like, this storm is pretty epic now, especially with the lightning being added.
I think we should stay away from the trees just in case the lightning strikes, they fall over, crush us, and we die. I don't wish to jump to conclusions, but that could happen. It's an eventuality that I would like to not happen.
I agree, and it looks like the trees are potentially trying to grab us as well, or hit us. We'll do
Grab us.
something to us.
What?
Don't kill them.
Grimnir,
Carry on.
what one of the trees seemed to try and get you, either to grab or to hit. Have you annoyed a tree?
Like here, recently, or ever? Because those are 3 different answers.
All of the above.
Not knowingly. No. I am not technically allowed to walk into a particular forest on the other side of the continent anymore. Do you think do you think they heard about that?
I think
Looks around at the trees.
I think they might have, Grimnir. I think the trees are connected in more ways than we can imagine. Through their roots, they speak to one another. I think you've annoyed them. I think you should apologize immediately.
Grimnir looks around, noticing how many trees there are, and I see now. This is trees. I'm talking to you with the benefit of hindsight and time and knowing myself and how my actions affect others better. Maybe, I see that I shouldn't have chopped down a bunch of trees to stack on top of each other just so that I could say I was the king of logs. And I did ignore a few times where the trees I assume they were trees, asked me what I was doing and said, don't do that. We don't like, that was my bad.
At this point, Huxley's just nudging Alaric with his elbow just to see if Alaric's picking up on the joke here that we've just made. Grimnir apologized to the trees. That was a very good apology, Grimnir.
Just.
He's just there, looking visibly disappointed, just oh, Grimnir.
I'm trying to be better. I did a lot of things. I did a lot of things I'm not proud of, and I did a lot of things that I am now learning I shouldn't be proud of. And I am on my journey to a new life and new me.
You're getting there. You're doing very well. Shall we proceed?
Alaric, the tree behind Grimnir, as the lightning strikes it, almost a half humanoid shape is built out of it. As you almost just see the shoulders of the tree just go what? And just shrug. And another one saddles up next, is sort of near Huxley, and just a wooden hand comes out for a high five.
I think this is what you're meant to do. I've never done one of these before. I will high five the tree.
As far as you can tell, Grimnir, that was heartfelt and truthful.
Largely, yes. King of Logs is still a cool title.
No.
I'm not going to say anything to that. Let's keep moving.
You carry on. And Tina, I am sorry, but those heels are becoming a real problem. It's...
Yes, I do. I cast levitate on myself.
Nice.
Will someone pull me along, please?
Yes.
I'm imagining just like strap a rope around Grimnir and just like around his waist, and he just like walks forward like a sled dog.
There's like
just gonna
three of us
recline.
floating now, isn't there? So,
A teenage balloon.
a teenage balloon.
Yeah. Literally just there, like, It's much better now that I can lay down on the air.
You travel, and you know in those old-fashioned like reels where they'd be sat in a stationary car, and then there'd be like the cinema screen behind that would be rolling constantly, and everybody would be like, "Wow, yeah, let's go," and pretend to drive. There's a point where you almost feel like that's happening to you, like it's the same scene that you're walking towards, but you're not entirely sure whether you're actually moving forward or if you're just walking in the same spot constantly. To a certain point where you hear like a sigh of boredom and then like a rip as the scene in front of you that you've been traveling, or what perceived to be traveling towards, sort of rips open, and like a new opening to a forest sits behind it. Next scene.
You know, that's not normal, right?
Well, how many books have you read? Well, where they just skip to the bit where that's interesting.
Oh, we're not allowed to do that. Huxley said that that's really bad.
No, you have to really take in the words on all the pages and really
I'm talking about when the author just does a little time skip, that's all.
Oh, that's called the abridged version. Nobody likes the abridged version.
All right, fine.
No. That forest doesn't have any rain, right?
What do we think? Do we want it to, lay off a little bit, or do you want it to be a bit more aggressive? Do you want to really create a scene?
I think a nice summer's day would suit me very nicely, and I think Alaric's niece would thank you eternally for it.
Yes, they definitely would.
We're trying to write a riveting story. We should endure the elements at their harshest.
Or yeah. What if we fought at the top like a sick volcano?
Yeah.
What if the forest is a dead forest? And there's all dead leaves and it's all kind of spindly, but there's no rain. It's just shadowy and atmospheric.
And spider webs everywhere.
It's like a shadowy,
a shadowy forest. I can work with shadowy forest on a volcano. All right, that could be exciting. Don't like cobwebs. That sounds, a little bit on the nose,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a good writer.
No, we can just change. Right, volcano, forest, creepy.
Summer's day.
Half-cast.
Dormant volcano as well.
Yes.
Mild
peril.
Oh, we can leave that for a surprise. All right, go on then, yeah.
Oh,
I
no.
move forward happily.
If this becomes a dormant volcano, this will now no longer crack my top 25 coolest places to kill someone. And I'm gonna hold that against you.
Wait, what? You want to kill somebody in a volcano? I'm slightly concerned now.
Not us.
So you walk through the rip and you enter, and it's strange. It's almost like AI art, like the sort of the forest plus the volcano plus none of it seems to actually sort of fit correctly. And you notice once or twice a tree floats off into the air, and you hear a shit, and it returns. And then the shadows begin to sort of seep in, and this opening surrounded by the volcano in the distance and the forest around, you can see 5 figures stood. Sort of like in a semicircle on the other side of this clearing.
These are the book clubbers?
I was good. Should we invite them to join the book club?
No.
Like books?
I don't know, some weird like cult or whatever sacrificing someone on the top of a volcano, or they're like, we're your mortal enemies. We're here, 5-on-5, the ultimate. We gotta see what their deal is or whatever. Not that I'm adventuring, but.
No, shadowy figures.
You get slightly closer, and these figures are incredibly generic, like commoner clothes. Each of their faces is very like nondescript. But anyway, they're just humanoids. Some could potentially be elves, some could potentially be orcs. It's very vague. It's almost like very little effort has gone into actually creating something. They all stand as in a similar stance with a sword or a pike or something. And the middle one shouts, "You can't have him!"
Can't we have?
Oh, I didn't write that far. Narration time, here we go. A standoff between 5 bandits and a party of heroes. These bandits have taken a poor hostage. For ransom, the horror! Who could possibly save him?
You will yield the hostage to us, or face our wrath.
Please. I feel like we established manners helped earlier, Tina. We asked please.
It's dramatic storytelling. You know?
We'll burn you all to death.
Could we trade the hostage for some cinnamon buns?
Or some chips.
Or some chips. I have hot chocolate.
Food or death? Tea cake or death?
Can everybody roll initiative?
God damn it.
Can you imagine if just a random group of people walked up to him and was like, die! All free chips, please.
17.
12.
10.
12.
Natural 19. 21.
A slight shift happens, as almost like a tactician has positioned you to make it more epic. As you sort of feel your shoulders be pulled back into positions and slid across, as you almost match the 5 nondescript NPCs in front of you, as you are in like an opposite semicircle in front of them. Blaze, whereabouts in the semicircle would you like to be?
Right in the middle.
Right in the middle, perfect. For context for spells, I'd say they're about 60 foot away.
Okay, and are they, within like a radius of around 20 feet?
You'd be able to get 3 of them.
Okay.
So like the middle one or an edge you could pick.
Sure. So Blaze is like, you want us to? Okay. Alaric, yeah. I'm kind of like looking around for permission, and
I suppose so.
Okay. The bandits look in horror as Blaze grabs the sun itself and burns them to hell. And he's trying to be dramatic. And in his hands, his whole body just glows, and it kind of shoots down his hands and forms a gigantic fireball in his hands, and he just kind of overhead just goes yeah, and lobs it directly at the three of them.
So,
lend me your strength.
We've
Don't
got
burn the crisps.
21.
That one will just save.
A 16.
Fail.
And a 26.
That one will also succeed. They're dex saving throws, yeah? That's
Yeah.
Okay,
So 2 saves and 1 fail.
So that is just rolling the dice. So that would be 32 plus 5, 37 to the one who failed, and whatever half that is for the 2 that succeeded. 50. What is
they
17?
Yeah,
17.
They get blasted as one of them gets thrown onto the floor. The other 2 seem to sort of hold strong slightly, but sort of the other 2 kind of like step back slightly away from the flames and sort of turn towards you guys. With a bit of shock. Seems to have, like, they weren't quite expecting that. It is now one of the first nondescript NPCs. They're just going to blast over and dash straight towards you, Blaze. It's not like like the way they run is like holding the sword up and like, but there's like, that's just it. So like generic as they run towards you, and sort of come and meet you and sort of almost start that sort of dance, trying to find your weakness. That'll be that one's turn. Huxley.
Oh, is it me? Right.
The wand, the myth, the legend.
Bravely, Huxley will, using his peregrine helm, begin to ascend into the air backwards, 60 foot, leaving someone behind. And that someone is Stampy. And as a bonus action, I'm going to ask Stampy if he'd very kindly move forwards within touching distance of one of the nondescript non-player characters, whatever that means. DM, are they wearing armor by any chance? Is it classed as armor? Metal?
It looks like leather.
Okay, that's fine. And for my action, I will use Stampy to cast Shocking Grasp at the one in front of me. And a hand is just going, my furry arm is going to extend from Stampy, the little butt stamp with googly eyes, and grab the leg of the person near me. Near Stampy, sorry. Not great, 18.
That just misses.
God damn it. Stampy, you'll have to do better next time. And that ends Huxley's turn.
Very good. Alaric.
Seeing these nondescript people running towards us, I will go, and I just completely turn invisible. Just before I turn invisible, you watch as I unclick the buttons of one of my sleeves, and you can see some little sparkly metal bits underneath there, and I completely disappear, and I will move sort of almost 20. I'll move 20 foot back. Nobody can see me, and then one of the nondescript people will get hit with 2 daggers as I throw daggers at them. Where's my text? There they are. The first one is a 22 to hit.
Oh, that hits.
That is going to be... Why did that roll? Oh, yeah, because it would be a sneak attack because I'm invisible. That is 17 points of piercing damage.
Nice. For specifics, are you aiming at the one that is in front of Blaze? Or...
Yes, the one directly in front of Blaze. And the second attack is a 19 to hit.
Yes, that hits.
And it's automatically rolled sneak attack for some reason, so that is 8 points of damage. We'll take the sneak attack off. That shouldn't be there.
Very, very good. After getting blown up, and then that, and the nondescript NPC does not look so good. It is now their turn. The final two that were blown up get sort of shoved themselves off, and they are going to run to the furthest on the left side of where you're facing. We haven't really placed anybody, so let's do a D4. Well, apart from Blaze, who was in the middle. See. So one of them takes sort of a lean back and pulls a crossbow from underneath their sort of that has been stored in the side, aims and attempts to loose twice at Huxley with a 17 to hit.
I think not. I'm going to use a shield, which will increase my AC to 22.
Awesome. And then a 16, I imagine, does
not beat the 22.
No. How does your shield look?
Oh, I'm glad you asked. Well, my shield looks like the biggest book you've ever seen, opening up its lovely pages to receive whatever damage would hit me.
A generic, cheers and claps comes through from, nowhere.
Thank you.
Seems to have impressed. Okay, Tine.
Oh, is there one specifically that seems to be gunning for me?
Oh, yes, the one that I skipped over the turn off.
Oops.
Thank you for the reminder. They're going to rush out at you, and instead of running straight out to try to get right in front, they're going to take a stop about 30 foot away from you and shoot. With a 22 to hit.
That hits, yeah.
And a 24 to hit.
And 24 also hits.
Oh,
I could do something if it was below 20, but...
So you take 7 points of piercing damage.
Ow.
12 points of necrotic as the shadows that you described seem to envelop the bolts from this crossbow as they shoot across. Okay. Getting back at them time. Tine.
Okay, so first things first, Tine is going to use Metamagic to use Quicken Metamagic, which also means I get to roll on my Elemental Shard table. But I'll do the spell first, which is going to be she takes a Dragon Claw out of her bag or her pocket, probably pocket, and just goes claw and flicks it towards them. Can they make a dex save, please?
Yes, of course. Oh, that's a 28.
Oh, fuck them. Doesn't hit. On a failed save, nope. The object did not strike something, so that was for nothing.
I'm sorry.
So I've done Quicken Spell, so I'm going to do my Metamagic.
Yes.
Okay, so that was a 4. So, water. I create a wave of water bursts from you in a 10-foot radius. Each creature of your choice takes 2d6 cold damage and must succeed a strength saving throw against your spell save DC or be pushed 10 feet away and pulled prone.
Very good. I feel very sorry for the guys that have just been on fire. Okay, so you've got one sort of 30-foot sort of directly in front of you, and then there's one just sort of to your side in front of Blaze. So I would argue you could probably, if you nudged, you might splash Blaze slightly, but you'd be able to probably get both of them.
Yeah, I'll go over it. I will do that. Can they make a strength? So let's see. Yeah,
Yes.
2d6. And can they make a strength save?
14?
Does not make it. They take 7
Then
cold
another
damage.
14.
Another 14. No. They are both pushed 10 feet back, and they are
Yeah.
prone.
Very good. Very good. Blaze, you no longer have a combatant right in front of your face anymore.
And then, in addition...
Oh, it's so wet. I thought you'd stopped her. Tina!
You'll be fine. And then I'm going to aim a firebolt at the one that was shadowy and nasty to me. And that was a nat 20.
Oh no.
Okay, so that is... I'm also going to say it was a nat 20 with a plus 13 to hit. So it was a 33 to hit.
Oh my god.
That's great. So I'm happy you can either roll the same dice and double them, or roll double the dice. Totally up to you.
I enjoy rolling dice twice because it's the chaos.
Yeah, get stuck in.
Okay, I need another d8, another d8, another d8. I'm missing a d8. Why now, of all times? I'll just roll them twice, it's fine. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17,
Ooh.
18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35 fire damage.
Yes. Ouch.
And it kind of comes out of like and then blue flames, very specifically, kind of stovetop, just kind of pierce and emanate.
Nice. Yeah, you hear I don't know if Tina would find it satisfying, but an incredibly painful scream as they sort of throw themselves into the moss and do like stop, drop, and roll to try and desperately get this horrific, just very effective spell. Okay. Grimnir.
I have 2 questions. First, is there anyone... Are there 2 combatants who are like standing close-ish by each other, not knocked prone at the moment?
There'd be the 2 furthest to the left, that one of them shot at Liz, and the other one probably is right next to them now, that was in front of Blaze.
Perfect. And those are still standing?
Yeah.
Excellent. So Grimnir is going to... he has his sword out, but is going to, taking some deep breaths, just kind of walk across the battlefield, and is just kind of, as he approaches these 2 individuals, just kind of raises a hand and says, "Hello, I would like to try and settle this dispute, whatever is now between us, through the power of words and self-expression. Can we resolve this amicably?"
Make a persuasion check.
He's not very persuasive. Oh, no, he's actually medium persuasive. Ooh, that's a 17.
A 17. A quizzical look comes across this nondescript. Come on.
And I'm like standing like in front of them now.
What do you mean?
Violence should be used as a last resort and is not a replacement for discussing your feelings. So what are your feelings right now? And can we resolve any negative ones you may or may not have?
Yeah. Give us him back.
Sorry, you're gonna have to be more specific.
Give him back.
Who's the him?
The guy you took from us.
Huxley, did you hear that?
I did. Yes.
Does that is that one of those, like when you said a plot hole?
It depends on whether they eventually tell us what it is that they actually want. The plot hole would be the case if they never do.
Grimnir is looking up at the sky, assuming some disembodied voice with a fun, jaunty accent might chime in.
Irritatingly, the guy speaks so freaking much. Doesn't speak this time.
Yeah. Let us all, we should sit down in a feelings circle and talk this through. And he like hangs his head a little bit.
Mate, you're a right weird bandit, but all right. And the one of them like throws this sword on the floor, and they kind of all just kind of waddle over to you guys. And one of them just sort of goes like, hi, and goes up to Alaric and sort of puts his hand out to shake. And just like, hey, pal, you all right?
I appear out of nowhere because I'm still invisible.
Oh, of course. And they all kind of sit down in a semicircle.
Do I have to join the feelings circle?
Oh, do we have to?
You're already forming half of it, so yes.
Right, well...
I'd rather not fight if you could oblige that. I'm retired.
Yeah.
So, I thought you had a hostage that we were retrieving?
No, you guys have got the hostage that we were saving.
I'm not a hostage.
No, him. And behind you, you can see this sort of like, as noble costumes can go, like ridiculous poms and sort of a fez hat and like jewelry going everywhere. And he sat there with his hands tied. And he's like, hello.
But is that one yours?
Yeah, that's our Baron. We came to save him from you bandits.
So I think there's been a misunderstanding. We're not bandits. We're part of a book club. Both begin with B, so I can understand where the confusion began. Secondly, is this man a nice Baron? Does he treat you well? Are you sure taking him back is a good decision?
Yeah, he's all right.
Is that correct? And I'll ask the Baron.
Nods insistently.
Well, he's not with us, so I suppose you can take him.
I thought we were supposed to be talking about feelings.
But how do you feel about that?
How did you feel when I fireballed you?
Well, Jeremy looks worse for wear, but overall...
Sorry, Jeremy. I apologize for my behavior. And I look towards Grimnir like, yeah?
I think that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Right.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel about a book stamp that can see you? If it's too much, you don't have to answer straight away.
It's a 6 for me.
I mean, what does 10 indicate?
I was hoping our feelings could tell us this.
Amount of feeling.
Oh. So you feel substantially about a small book stamp that can see you with its googly eyes?
Well, I'm still learning feelings. Is confused a feeling?
Correct, yes, it is.
Then yes.
Well, I think we've made some steps.
I don't think my character development card went this far.
Have you tried asking questions? Like, how do I feel about living here? What's my favorite thing? How often do I communicate verbally? All of these things will shape you as a character, as an NPC, whatever that is.
That's a derogatory term.
Yeah.
Do you have any hobbies? Dr. Bramblefoot said, I need more hobbies. And that is key to a well-rounded person.
I was created 10 minutes ago.
No.
Do you want a hobby?
I could have a hobby.
What about fishing?
Does that involve fighting, killing? Oh.
You fight the fish in a way. Alaric, you taught me how to fish. You could teach them how to fish, and then we could go and continue our journey.
Yes, I could teach you how to fish. I'm still getting my head around this whole NPC thing. Is that another non-bandit term for non-person chaser?
Non-bandit chaser.
No, because that'd be NBC then.
Oh yeah, I can't spell either.
I've been a bandit many times, and I've never heard it, but regional dialects or whatever.
I think it's a new term that we should coin. Is that the phrase? But yes, I can teach you fishing, and then we can go on our merry way. There's a volcano there. Should we fish in that?
Non-persistent criminal.
Hey!
There we go.
Yeah.
The noble sort of like walks between the middle of this emotions circle, and kind of goes sort of, thank you, and holds it out, and then you realize that it wasn't even properly tied, and it just kind of falls apart. Okay. He walks sort of off, and then dramatically turns. You thought that I needed saving, but you will pay for your actions.
Object to the caricature of the nobility.
Hello?
This is not accurate to how nobility acts. This is a caricature.
Look, this is my first try. Can you come and help? Just tell me what I need to say. Say you have fallen for my deception and time for you all to die. And
it's a trap.
I personalize it a bit more. Speak about yourself in the statement. Makes it more scary.
Right. Well,
monologue. That's the best way to do it.
Yes, you want a monologue.
Sir,
all the great ones.
Make sure you use that accent. Just take it. Oh, beautiful.
And really swish the cape as well. Make sure that billows as you turn.
Take 3 steps to the left, 5 steps back, and a little more to the left, and then
Okay.
I'm directing him off of the cliff into the volcano.
Don't forget, you need to look at us the entire time, eyes down, looking up, a little
sinister.
Focus on that.
Okay.
There he
is. Frustratingly, his back heel is on the edge where he stops.
And if you're do a quick approximation of all of us, and then be we're not so different, you and I. That's a big one. I get that one a lot. Have you ever? That happens to me most times.
Most people do think I'm quite different, so I can't relate to that. I'm sorry, Grimnir.
You have fallen for my deception. I tricked you into capturing me so I could push you all. Aha!
Aha!
What happened?
Do we clap now? I'm confused.
I mean, oh no, please, Barra, don't kill us. Spare us with your mercy.
You did trick us. Congratulations. Do we go now, or?
I'm confused. Is this what normally happens in the feeling circle, Grimnir? Or do we commonly get tricked?
I mean,
deceive in.
Dr. Bramblefoot says usually the people who get deceived the most in the feeling circle is yourself.
Oh.
So,
Aaron, I'm so sorry.
Sort of.
I was told you were professionals. I thought this was going to be like a whole dramatic scene, and it's been ruined by feelings.
Is he still right on the edge of the cliff? Sorry, Tina, I think you were going to say something.
Okay, so we need to just wrap this scene up in a really dramatic way, yes? Yes? All agreed? Okay. You and I, we're going to end this as we began it. You together, and I tackle him off the cliff, and then I sprout wings halfway down and fly back up again, leaving him just to go.
Right, cut. Right, everybody, makeup. And you see like these random like blobs come out and start doing the makeup on the bandits, and you see the noble walking out and like brushing himself off, and he's like, "Oh, come on, that wasn't cool."
Why are you giving me blush? Stop it!
No, Tina, that was really
I
cool.
think you look dashing, Alaric.
It looked amazing.
So we're supposed to be storytelling, right? And well, I'm not gonna lie. To be honest, teenage distractions, and all that, I'd like to keep that. If you tackle them off, the final sacrifice, fantastic. I will warn you though, if you go into the lava, you will die, and there's not a right lot I can do about that.
Nintendo.
Cool. Now,
Not with my hair.
This was supposed to be a teachable moment, Grimnir. Why are you so? You were a lot. You were supposed to learn from this whole story.
I think we did, didn't we? I thought the whole purpose of it was we've learned, or Grimnir has learned, that he is to share his feelings in times when he is tempted to hack, kill, and murder everything.
Right, yeah. But I was supposed to teach him that, not himself.
I think his Dr. Nettlebush would strongly disagree with that. I'm sorry, but we must trust science.
We've told you something.
How do you know my podiatrist?
Isn't it like a self-development thing? Don't we need to learn these things ourselves through you showing us the way?
It's going to do some real clever hijinks, and it would have, mixed him all up. And he'd had to learn from it, and then it was going to be like the double bluff, and, the evil noble was tricking you all along. This whole thing planned.
Oh, I feel very tricked. I don't know about all of you, but I feel completely bamboozled.
I feel like their hearts weren't in it. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I feel like the half-baked plot twist, it made everything more confusing than it did, surprise, drama. It was something missing.
It was the whole, they started off as the bandits with the hostage, and then suddenly it changed to us suddenly being the bandits with the hostage.
Right, but I never...
It loses people.
The whole clever thing was I never told you, or I never made it clear that you were the heroes and they were the bandits. It was all very vague. That was the point. It was supposed to be like,
I could have sworn you said the heroes go to stop the bandits, and we were the ones approaching them.
Right, well, maybe you're right. Maybe I'm just a terrible writer.
No, you're not. You're not.
No,
it's got great potential.
It's just first draft.
Yes, first draft.
First draft is terrible.
Yes, every writer has numerous amounts of drafts before they settle on a final product. Tina will be the person who could tell you that as a accomplished writer herself.
Of course, I narrated my story to Martin Berry Burble at least 5 times before we got the specifics right.
Right.
Sometimes you just need to plan it out, say it aloud, say it to someone else, bounce the ideas back and forth.
Often I find that it's better to read your words out loud before you commit to them at all. There was a very common writer, Brals Brickens, whose works were completely read aloud for all to hear. They were written for that purpose alone.
We're all just gonna let the table sit with Barles Brickens.
Brals Brickens, common writer in Waterdeep, very good.
What would you like us to get out? What would you like us to get out of the scene?
Well, to be honest, it wasn't about you guys. It was about Grimnir.
If it was about him learning and developing, I feel that he accomplished that. Do you feel that you accomplished that, Grimnir?
Yeah, that never works.
Have to fight for the learning.
Believe me, there was a lot of internal fight. It's like the books we read, like there's like the kind of like, oh, here's what's happening and you see it, and then there's the ones that are like the thoughts, right? You read the thoughts of the person, and if it was my thoughts, you'd be like, I really want to chop these people in half, like that. There was a lot of that, or like, kind of like pick one up and kind of use it like a hammer on another one of them. All like that was all there, but so you didn't. It was off screen, off page.
Like
you get it.
The passion that could have. It would have been sensational. Right. Well, congratulations. I guess you wrote a story. It's a bit of a weird, fourth wall breaking, confusing story. And also, NPC means non-player character. I made them so just to make it not like confusing to you guys.
You're the god.
Right.
It was very avant-garde.
Anyway, you'll need to get the piece of paper that you'd have fished off the noble once you'd finished this fight. So go find him.
Isn't he just standing there, having brushed himself off?
Alaric, you've noticed that, like,
he's over at Craft Services,
like a like a 2-year-old running with a chocolate bar. The noble's just like bolted off about 60 foot away and is running as fast as he can into the forest.
I think we need to chase him, don't you? Does anybody want to go after him really quickly?
I will go with you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hang on 1 second. Can you just wait? And I didn't really do much of a description when Alaric entered, but he has like a harness on his leg, and I unclip it and take it off and give it to Blaze. Bear with me 1 second. Knee cracks, and then I move, dash, and move again 120 feet because my foot is movement.
Shit.
And I will just stop right in front of the noble. Be like, I'll take that bit of paper, please.
Yeah, he's already out of breath. Like, he only ran like 60 foot, and he's like, why did he make me run?
Why did you run?
Because he told me to. Just take it.
Take it. And I hobble back really slowly. Bit of paper.
Now, the slow clapping begins as you return. Now that was a beautiful moment. You can't write that. Oh no, wait, we just did. You know, appreciate that beautiful moment for Alaric. I mean, it was supposed to be Grimnir's, but I guess Alaric is taking it.
How's your knee?
It hurts.
You haven't done that in years.
I apologise, Grimnir. I'm sorry.
I didn't have a lot of motivation to get that paper, so I'm fine. And I just washed this outfit, and it's like the gingham button down shirt. It's like I didn't try to keep it clean, so.
No, maybe the problem with the story isn't so much what happens, but the genre it is in. I feel like you're going for a fantasy adventure vibe, but I think we're going for more literary fiction character study is kind of the energy we're giving right now.
You have to make sure to speak to your audience.
And don't shy away from dialogue. As much action that there was in Alaric going to chase the Baron, there wasn't much dialogue to go from. I think our feeling circle had some splendid dialogue within.
No, you're right. I didn't really give the NPCs much to work with. I thought, to be honest, them just threatening you a little bit would be enough for you to, kill them.
If it was a real lesson for Grimnir, if it was me, and not saying I'm a god of stories or anything, but I would have done something like the bandits throw a boulder at Grimnir's head. And that really would test, Grimnir's ability to be feelings orientated.
And there's a lot of people who hate me. A lot. And some of them I do still hate. Dr. Bramblefoots made me okay with that, but
to be fair, the moment with the trees was beautiful. A little bit of slow chime music, a bit of maybe high pitched, soft singing in the background, just harmonizing. That would be a really beautiful moment.
Yeah, but then it was just 5 people. I've killed a lot of sets of 5 people. It's not really
All right, well, believe it or not, they're quite difficult. I did make Right, read the bloody letter and then we can get out of here.
Take a piece of paper.
It says, Chapter 1, think red, but not likable. Be aware of danger, but don't always just go straight to anger. Awesome. And you get pulled straight into that whirlwind. Back onto your seats. And it looks like, although the fish and chips and the cinnamon bun, the Rice Krispie cakes, and the hot chocolate are all there, multiple more bits and bobs have been added. Some teas there, there's scones, there's sandwiches, stuff like that. As you spin around, Alaric, let's get that Constitution saving throw out of the way.
Mage hand.
Really?
Oddly enough, that's a 17 again.
Yeah, you keep it in. And you appear back in the Grand Library. And the very sort of generically dressed prattler is now wearing a French beret and has what are the jumpers called that go right up the neck?
Turtleneck.
Yeah, wearing a turtleneck and has a second jumper braid over the top, and he's stood like this. I've decided to take a director's look because I feel like I really need to guide you guys through the next one. Unless you think I'm micromanaging too much.
It'd be interesting to see how it goes. I've never been directed before.
Yeah, tell us what you want us to do, and I'm sure we'll be able to accomplish what it is that you want written in your pages that we are doing.
Wait, but this is the problem. I'm feeling really like... Because it needs to be from you, but I feel like you're stifling your passion. Like, Grimnir, what was that? Like, there was no passion.
Well, I'm trying to have less of that, actually, so...
Yeah, passion and anger, they can be so beautiful on their own, but put them together, and you can transcend the issues you seem to be having.
That just feels not really where I'm at in my journey. You know, like, I'm still finding the balance.
Would it work if I just said, trust me, I'm a god? Right, fair enough. Well played. Right, well, I guess we should go to chapter 2.
You're the director?
Yes.
Yeah.
Point us in the direction.
Yeah. Speaking of, you notice that the book is on the table as well. And the first missing page has been replaced with a new shiny one, which has the chapter name and what happened. And you kind of have a half glance and the dialogue is like all over the place. Like the fourth wall breaking, everything is just so confusing. But on that confusing chapter's note, that's where we'll end tonight. Thank you everyone for joining us, for being part of the madness of tonight. All that was, I hope you kept track. I barely did. If you enjoyed tonight, we play every Monday and Tuesday from 6 p.m. GMT BST, 10 a.m. PT PST. You can also join us on Friday, again from 6 p.m. GMT BST or 10 a.m. PT PST for Talk Together, our chat show where we interview our players, DMs, and other TTRPG industry voices. All of our shows are streamed on twitch.tv/rolltogetherrpg, and you can find all of our content archived at youtube.com/rolltogetherrpg. There are also podcast versions of all our shows available everywhere. Just search Roll Together and you'll probably find us. Add RPG at the end. Massive thank you to our D20 Club on Patreon. There'll be a link in chat now. Do join them. Every penny helps us make all of the content that we make. And a big thanks again to our sponsors and supporters. And don't forget, we're all over social media as Roll Together RPG. Thanks for watching and see you next time.